Hi guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be doing my film review for the latest horror movie that just dropped today, The Curse of La Llorona. I just got done watching it in the theater a short while ago. Whew. Scary, creepy stuff, am I right? Now, before I begin and I continue going on and on, of course, please be warned this is a spoiler filled film review. Again, if you have not seen this movie and you would like to, do not keep watching or listening to this film review I will be going into spoilers. So, again, if you have not seen or watched this movie and you would like to, don't keep watching or listening because I'm going to be talking about plot details, scary moments, and characters. So you have been warned. That being said, decent, wonderful horror film. I got about what I was expecting to see. There was no shortage of creepiness or jump scares. And ghost stories always freak me out. Those are always the scariest ones because a ghost can appear just about any time, anywhere, day or night, and it can come through the doors, come through the windows, it could come in your house, and if it's not attached to a location, it's attached to a person, and it's always haunting you. And that was the case in this story. This woman's children became the target of La Llorona when she took them to the crime scene where she murdered two other poor boys by drowning them. And based on what I know from the actual legend of La Llorona, it seemed like they followed pretty close or accurate to the legend. The story goes about a woman who married a man. They fell in love. They had two children together, and then she discovered that he was cheating on her with a younger woman. And to punish her husband, she murders their two children by drowning them, holding them down underwater in a river. She realizes what she's done, and she's just overwhelmed, consumed with guilt, and then she's cursed to roam the earth forever. And the legend has a few different versions where any children who hear her crying, they become a target, and she tries to drown them in an attempt to bring her own dead children back, or just as an act of endless revenge. Another version that a friend of mine and I were discussing because he saw the movie with me was that she lures unfaithful men to a body of water, more specifically a river, and she murders and drowns unfaithful men. Guys not loyal to their wives or girlfriends, but in this case, their wives. But in this film, she was just go after this woman's children because they heard her crying, and and you guys know the rest, assuming you've seen the movie. I really enjoyed it. I think the thing I liked most about it was that I was pleased to see another big studio take on a legend like La Llorona, much like Universal did several years ago with Krampus. That was the holiday horror film from Michael Dougherty, who is going to be bringing us Godzilla King of the Monsters a few years ago. He did Trick or Treat, and then more recently he did Krampus. Both of them are excellent holiday horror flicks. And Krampus was based off of a German legend, and it was nice to see like a real legend spun into a fun, entertaining horror film. And I feel like Curse of La Llorona was done just as well, where they took a real legend and they spun it into an entertaining, scary horror movie. Everybody did a great job. La Llorona was scary as hell. She was loud. She was a screamer. She was like, and she looked terrifying. And, some great jump scares and some truly creepy moments. I love the fact that the whole audience was responsive at the appropriate amount of time because it was in a full house. And right when the girl realizes her precious doll is outside the door and no one is supposed to break the barrier of the tree seeds because that's what's keeping La Llorona out, the girl decides to go for the doll, and the whole time we're expecting La Llorona to grab her, like her hand to grab the girl and to pull her out of the house. And it doesn't happen, but the girl does breach the barrier, and then La Llorona then is allowed into the house, and that's when all hell breaks loose. But I just loved how the whole audience during that scene, when the girl's trying to get her doll, we're all like, no, 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 no. And my friend and I were both like, ugh. We're both shaking our heads like, no, no, don't do do it, don't do it. I mean, we weren't talking like out loud, but we're all saying quietly, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You know, and everybody in the audience in the theater was like, no, don't do it, don't do it. It's like people in the audience knew better and were smarter than the characters in the film, but I feel like that's a case for a lot of horror movies. But overall, solid horror film, really enjoyable. Even though there's a reference to the Conjuring universe that I personally don't know much about because I haven't seen any of the Conjuring films, I believe it does take place of the Conjuring universe, but you don't have to see the other previous Conjuring films in order to enjoy this film. This film you can enjoy as a standalone horror film, and if you just happen to be a fan of The Conjuring, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that this movie does indeed connect to it. I also loved how they had their own version of kind of like a Ghostbuster, but he was like a La Llorona buster, the ex-priest who came to help the woman and her kids. You know, he offered some moments of humor throughout the film. Like, I felt like there was a healthy balance. Well, maybe not necessarily a great balance, but there was definitely some snippets of humor amongst the horror, some one-liners between the kids and the guy. And, you know, like at the end when she's finally defeated, he says, ta-da! You know, that was pretty funny. That was a great way to kind of like ease or break the tension after a very tense scene. Awesome. Also, great death scene, by the way. I loved how she takes the crucifix made of the special tree from Mexico, and she just plunges it into La Llorona, and then she just explodes. And I'm like, okay, that's a great death scene and a great villain defeat, so well done. Overall, I enjoyed it. The EdWord recommends The Curse of La Llorona. 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed this movie as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to this channel for more film reviews like this one. The Curse of La Llorona is now playing in theaters. Check your local times for listings. I hope you enjoy the movie. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.